And if you could just introduce yourself.
I play keyboards in Alice.
My name is Anna Maria, and I am the founder and vocalist in the band Vajra.
What was the initial start?
Yeah, so we all have pretty storied histories.
I was just bored during COVID. Did a little demo, put it out, and it was pretty well received by the community. And
always had a thing for horror punk and stuff.
Something that started with me and a laptop during quarantine, and just like, oh yeah, you know, all those times I said, if only I didn't have to work my job all the time, and now like I could have time to do that. Well, now this is that.
All right, I'm here today with Daryl from the Cain Pit. Daryl, if you'd like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your band, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'm Daryl from the Cain Pit. I play double bass and sing in the band, and we kind of play a bluegrassy punk folk rockabilly thing. And yeah, we're based in the UK, on the East Coast in a county called Norfolk.
Nice. Awesome to have you on. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to talk with me. I'd like to talk a little bit about the history of the Cain Pit, how to get started, how'd you guys all get together, and what made you want to go towards this kind of like Punkgrass, how you describe it?
Yeah. I mean, it's how long have we got? Because it's quite a long and massive epic story. But I guess the sort of condensed version would be so myself and the guitarist, we're cousins, and we kind of grew up together playing music, like in and out of bands. But I originally was a drummer, so that's like my main instrument. So he was on drums, and then I was on drums, he's on guitar. And yeah, we used to just jam in the countryside in Norfolk, just playing rockabilly, rock and roll songs. But all through our life, we were sort of in and out of bands with each other, some covers, some originals. And then sort of, I'd never found a band that I could play, which was like the music I was into. Like, I've got such a vast interest in music, and I find a lot of musicians, they were like, okay, so I want to play pop punk. I'm only going to play pop punk, whatever. They're quite tunnel vision. So any band I've been in, I kind of always had written songs in the background, but they just stayed in like a binder, basically. So they never got used. Me and Scott, we'd always try to do this sort of rockabilly, punky band, but could never find the right people. And obviously then COVID came, hooray, which is, I think, probably the worst and the best thing to happen to musicians, to be fair. Like, obviously when it came in the UK, we got complete like lockdown. So I was playing in a few bands at the time, and that was just, that's it, you're over, that's it. But I think in a way it also gave musicians more time to sort of collaborate. And at the time, me and Scott weren't playing in a band together, and he just contacted me and said, do you want to just record some covers and just like, if we can do it remotely and just see how it goes? And because I've got a little studio set up, and so Scott, so we done some covers, they went okay, just some emo-y stuff, just for a bit of fun. And then I was like, so should we just try and do some originals and just see how it goes, see if we can actually even do it? And we done it. We released some stuff under a different name, and people seemed to like it. And then the lockdown got lifted, and we were like, well, let's just try and do it as an actual band, because it was fun. And it took a while to find people. We went through a massive lineup change, few like weeks and weeks, but we were lucky. We kind of stumbled on the people that are now in the band just by luck, really. So yeah, we were pretty chuffed with that.
Nice. And yeah, it's funny that, you know, we had a band on earlier, the Lichen Bite, that they kind of talked about the same thing with COVID of, at the, you know, on one hand, with everything shutting down and not being able to play live shows or do traditional methods like meeting up with other musicians, collaborating with other musicians, you know, that was really hard. On the other side of things, just that being able to find new ways to collaborate with people, new ways to connect. And I mean, more than anything, just the time with the lockdowns to be able to sit down and say, you know what, okay, I think I am ready to start getting this project off the ground I've been thinking about, not just doing, what I've been doing. So that's
Mhm.
awesome to hear, kind of the genesis of that. And I mean, I think you guys sound fantastic. You have a few singles out there right now.
Yeah.
Just recently released one, Alder, which I was jamming. It's great tunes. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about, the big thing is you guys have coming up your EP releasing, Sorrow.
Yeah.
And like I said, you've had a few singles out. I'm assuming those are all going to be on the album or on the EP. And you just sent me, one of your songs that you're getting ready to release, which again, just another great song. I was jamming it before this. What can we expect for, people that have heard it, that have heard the singles you've already released? What should we expect from this full EP that's coming out?
Yeah, so on the EP, there'll be Roses, which we released freaking, I don't know, forever ago, and Alder, which we have just released. And then there's another single. I mean, it's not really, I guess it's probably not singles now. It's really just a song to promote us. I don't think there's really singles for us at the minute, but I mean, the EP, it's really a good mix of what we've already released, which is either the really super fast sort of Punkgrass thing that we're doing, or the more sort of gothicy, moody shit that we do. There's also some like country on there for some reason. But yeah, I think I'm hoping that like the EP will give people a real sort of like sense of what we're about, because it's we can't play 2,000 miles an hour punk rock bluegrass like every song. You got to break it up. Just from the years I've done like rockabilly and bluegrass and stuff like that, having that dun, 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 for like 45 minutes, it makes people tired. It's pretty intense. So we've tried to do this EP where it's a good mix of what we're about. So you got the fast songs, the mid-paced songs, and the slow songs. So yeah, we hope that people will dig it. So we've been really lucky so far of what we've released, that people have been really enjoying it. Because like we're not on a label, we don't have any freaking money like anyone else, so it's all DIY. So we're super chuffed when people are like coming to our gigs, and we've got all these like festivals booked for a band that's not even been gigging like a full year yet. So we're pretty excited about it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I want to talk about that too. You brought up being DIY. I was going through you guys' stuff and it looked like a lot of your recording was in-house. Probably, I don't know if you guys send out to mix and master, if you do your own mixing and mastering as well. But even your music videos that you've released for these songs, you're the guy editing them. I don't know if you guys are doing everything in-house that way, just a guy with a camera shooting you as you go. How does that whole process go?
yeah, so yeah, all the recordings we're doing it all ourselves. So our first single that we had, which was Tapestry, which was quite a while ago now, but I'm playing drums on that, and we recorded the drums like in some random studio in the middle of nowhere. It's just this guy that I know. So it was pretty shady. And I laid down the drums, and then everything else was between myself, Scott on guitar, and Isaac, who's the banjo player, and we played everything on that first track. And yeah, when it came to the video, I edited it, but I just got a mate that had a good camera, basically, and we just pulled favors. This is what we've just, as I said earlier, we've just been so lucky. Like that first video, it didn't cost us anything. Like the place where we filmed it was an old disused bank vault in our hometown. They were like essentially knocking the guts out of the inside of this bank, and they're changing it into some youth center or something like that. And the vault is completely unused. And luckily, I knew the guy that was like decorating it, and I said, "Could we use the vault?" And he's like, "Yeah, just like help yourself to it." He's like so we load all our stuff into this vault, and he said, "I'm going to leave you to it. There's one thing you need to know: don't shut the door because we can't open it again. So which obviously shit us up quite a lot. It wasn't ideal, but luckily nobody shut the door and we survived, so that's great. And yeah, everything else from Roses was the next track. Everything else is does feature our drummer Jamie, and he went and recorded some drums in there's a drummer around our way, and he plays in a band called Millie Manders and the Shut Up, and they're sort of a really decent ska punk band, but he has his own studio for drums. So our drummer went and recorded there, and everything else we just done at Scott's house. So and he mixes it and masters it and does the whole lot. So yeah, we're kind of lucky really of how that works for us. And our other videos, the Roses video and the Alder video, was done by a mate of ours called Adam, who does filming for a living. And we just got a favor really. So, and then the video that I sent you that's not released yet, we just done that all ourselves in the studio that we rehearse in. So yeah, it's all in-house DIY, but it's what you got to do nowadays. So I think if you know how to do it, then freaking why not do it, you know?
Oh, definitely. And that's one thing that Will, you know, the audience that usually watches these, they know Will always talks about, you know, not letting any limitations you have stop you, especially it doesn't matter if you're, you know, the most professional musician or the most professional interviewer, or I mean, even before this, I didn't do any interviews, just real basic editing type stuff. But like, that's how you get better, is you just start doing these things. And I mean, from your guys' stuff, even everything DIY, like it looks very professional. It sounds very professional, and getting your stuff out there is what's important. I mean, if you had waited until, oh man, we got to save up the money to go to a studio to record this, or we got to get on a label to start distributing this stuff, or, you know, we need to pay for like a professional to be shooting our stuff, like it never would have got off the ground. So
No.
yeah, super important to just get out there, do stuff. And again, it sounds great. Like, I'm glad you guys put stuff out there.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's also good for us that like we have a bit of freedom then of like what we can do ourselves. Like, I mean, few of us have been on like record labels with other bands, and you kind of feel a bit restricted sometimes because a label will think they know what's best for your fans, but I think you know in yourself, you know what your scene is, you know who your fans are, you know what you're doing. So to have complete creative control over what the hell we want to do is amazing. So it would be nice if we had all the money that a label can sometimes provide you, but you know, we're getting on all right at the minute, so it's fine.
There you go. Yeah. Cool. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Sorrow, just some of maybe the themes that are present in it that people should expect to hear. I know you guys talk about, you know, love, death, and drinking in what your music is. So is that what we're going to be hearing here? Is there anything else that we should be maybe expecting?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, going back to like describing what we are, which was like bluegrass punk. I mean, you could just say that we're a folk punk band, but I think a lot of the time the genre like folk punk, it gets that stigma of like, if you play folk punk, you're obviously highly political in what you do, which we're not like at all. So like, you know, the songs are about love, about losing love. And we've also got a song about you know, you must know yourself, like touring around, you'll spend hours in a car, you'll go play a gig for half an hour, and then you've got like 4 hours drive home or whatever. And we've got a song about that, just being like a DIY band traveling around. And there was a time when I was doing lots of like late night gigs, and I used to hallucinate. Like I don't do drugs, but I used to hallucinate like coming home, because we live in this county called Norfolk, which is like, if you look at the UK, it's like a butt that sort of sticks out, and we live there. But to play any main cities, it takes a while to get on the main road. So our travel was used to be dreadful. And so I would look into the woods, because all of these roads are cut through like woods and forests. and I would used to hallucinate like monsters and stuff in the forest, or snipers, and they might have been there. I don't know. It was friggin' late. But that song is about, it's quite close to my heart, about, driving home after a gig. It's like 4 a.m, the sun's coming up, and you just want to get home, and it's kind of what it's about. But yeah, the majority is love and loss of love, and sort of heartbreak, I guess. There's some personal stuff in there about having issues with family and all that kind of stuff. But it's catchy. So, I mean, I don't mind having get dark songs with a catchy backbeat. That's always been a thing for us. So, yeah.
The last thing I want to talk about here is some of the upcoming festivals that you guys have coming up. I think it was this week you have the Bearded Theory Festival going on.
Yeah.
I see you guys got added to the Psychobilly Freakout 2024 later this year. Yeah. What does 2024 have for the Cain Pit?
Yeah, it's pretty mental. I mean, as I said earlier, about like we haven't even been gigging a year yet, and a lot of these festivals, like in the UK, they're pretty established. So, I mean, next, as you said, like this coming up on the next festival we're playing is Bearded Theory, and like Jane's Addiction is like headlining this festival, and like so it's a pretty big name. I mean, we're probably playing right next to the toilets, but I mean, it doesn't matter. We're on the festival, and the only reason we got that is because we were supporting this ska punk band called Millie Manders and the Shut Up, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. But we play like a party. It was like a birthday party, and we were just the support band because we knew the person whose party it was. But the person that organizes the festival was in the audience, and she thought that we were great, so she gave us the slot. So yeah, we're pretty chuffed about that we got on it. And there's another festival coming up called Red Rooster Festival, which is quite big for us in the area, it's like a rootsy, rockabilly, bluesy thing. It's pretty cool. And yeah, obviously I'm gonna go through the list. We've got frigging loads of festivals booked, but yeah, the big one is the one in London, which is the Psychobilly weekend thing, Psychobilly Freakout. Pretty chuffed to get on that, to be fair, because we're not really psychobilly. I mean, I love psychobilly. That's a big thing that I'm interested in. But for us to be discovered to play that, we're pretty chuffed, really. So yeah, I can't wait, really. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. And you say that you guys aren't really psychobilly, and I remember the first time I heard your music, I think I was posting one of my songs up on some like psychobilly thing, and I scrolled down a little bit and found yours, and it was like, this isn't really psychobilly, but it's got upright bass and it's sounds good. Hopefully you guys like it. And I listened to it, I was like, oh man, I'm glad, yeah, it's up here.
Yeah, well, we've been quite lucky. Like when we've been trying to put these songs together, it's like we want to try and hopefully the psychobillies like us. We're hopefully like the people who are more into their roots stuff like us. People who are into their authentic rockabilly stuff, they probably will fucking hate us, but I don't care about that. But yeah, the psychobillies, the punks, the people who are into their folk, I think we're getting there. So yeah, we were chuffed to get on the Psychobilly Freakout thing in London. So I played it last year with a different band, and it's a really freaking like good festival to do. So
well, very exciting stuff coming up in 24. I'm really looking forward to not just the song that you sent me getting released, but your guys' EP coming out. Yeah, I guess any closing statements, closing remarks, any socials you want to shout out, maybe other bands that you want to shout out?
Yeah, you can find us on all of the social media things. You just need to find the Cain Pit. We haven't got any stupid usernames for different platforms. It's all the same, super easy. Yeah, just if you can find us out, share us, like us, it all helps at the end of the day. Big shout out to the Zip Heads, who we've recently been gigging with. They are some awesome dudes who are in the UK and play psychobilly, punkabilly stuff. So make sure you all check them out.
Awesome. Once again, Daryl Blythe from the Cain Pit, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, I don't apologize for things I haven't done. Everyone's got a breaking point. I wanna break, you better run. Truth will prevail over lies in the end. The ship I sailed a long time ago for us to be family or friends. And the sharks are circling